5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Sync.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 236 of the TTV Podcast.
Yeah, Mardi
I'm
Gras.
Meso.
I'm Eljay.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Van.
Phweffie.
Whoa! You listen here. Nah, it's okay. I'm
Oops,
over it.
I did it again.
So, who's next?
I don't know. Wow, it's now me, Tenebrae Invictus.
And now it's finally me, EXX Trooper.
Finally.
This is TTV. How's it going, guys?
It's too early. I just got myself some cereal because that's how early it is.
Wait a second, did John say his name?
Yeah, I said my name.
Yeah.
said his
He's just
name.
really quiet.
He said, I'm Jonathan.
All I ever wait for is I'm Jonathan.
Well, I mean, it was, to be fair, that's what Phweffie should wait for. Because we have a distinct name order here, and somebody not can do it.
You done goofed.
You sound sick, John.
No, I'm just real tired.
Tired.
Yeah, I got up. Also, I'm like, I'm not dealing with a cold. I'm dealing with severe allergies.
Well, yeah, that's what he said last time.
Let's go ahead and, what's going on with you currently? What are you up to?
Okay, so what I'm up to? So recently, I found out that the brick heads came out, and I'm like, I really need those brick heads. So I drove all the way to North Carolina to get brick heads, and then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go say hi to Var. So now I'm at Var's apartment.
Are you serious? That's
I'm
the
just
only
gonna go
reason?
say hi to him.
That's-
I mean, essentially, yeah.
Of course. That's the only reason. And now he's having to deal with his cats he's
Yeah.
allergic to.
That's hilarious, man.
How many cats does he have?
He has two cats.
What if there's
You're
like
not-
a plot twist that Var doesn't actually know you're at his house?
He just wakes up, he's like, what are you doing?
I decided to say hi to Var.
Oh, that.
But he
Yeah,
didn't expect I
That's
was
why
staying.
he's been so
Think about
quiet.
this for a second. Think about this. John is on the podcast. Var's not, and they're at the same house. What's his deal?
He's sleeping,
Okay,
man.
well, I mean, here's the
Do
deal.
you think
So
Var's
last
just
night-
gonna
last night
sneak
about
up
1:30.
on John and just be like, scream or something?
Well, okay, so I mean, we also wanted to film some videos and stuff, and so we're like, all right, let's start
Yeah,
tomorrow,
sure.
and then we'll figure out what we're gonna do tomorrow, and go from there. And so we're trying to do that tomorrow, and about maybe not too late last night, about 1:30 ish. Far as like, all right, I'm just gonna go to bed, and I said, cool, see you, man. Then I was like, well, you know what? I want to go out. So I went out and I walked around and I saw the sights around North Carolina. Then I went to Steak and Shake, got me some food, came back, and I ate and I played some Overwatch, and I went to bed at like 5. And then I woke up in time for the podcast. So I don't know what Var's doing, because as far as I know,
sleeping.
he's been asleep for 3 more hours than I have.
Oh, wow.
He's still asleep.
I'll be honest. I got up at like 7, 8 o'clock, played Overwatch with you guys, went back to bed until 2 o'clock.
It's what, Saturday for you? You deserve it. You don't need to make videos. I was just like, I actually got up and I was like, I wonder if he's actually working on stuff right now, and he just didn't want to wake me up. And I went and looked inside his thing, and I was like, oh no, I guess he's not here. So don't know what he's up to. I'm actually I'm kind of trying to find a decent volume to be on the podcast with, and also not wake him up.
I mean, listen,
So-
if you wake him up now, I don't think it's...
Yeah,
I guess it's nearly 1
I'd
o'clock,
be
so at
afraid
that
of waking
point-
up.
Yeah,
someone
if Var
that.
comes out all angry, like, why are you being so
we'll
loud?
make a
And you
fun
could just be like,
podcast.
well,
Almost 1 o'clock.
you know, I'm on the
We got business to
podcast.
do, so you actually should be loud. That'll wake him up for you.
It'd be really
Yeah,
funny.
we were supposed to start I mean, I don't know when we're gonna start. We didn't have an official time, but in our heads we're gonna start before the podcast and then take a break maybe for the podcast and then come on. We haven't even started yet, so
I'm nervous that you guys won't get this done, but I hope you do.
if we don't, I'll
It'll
I'll
still
stay
be an
here for
experience.
Sunday too.
You're just
It'll
gonna
be bonding experience.
completely overstay just to get a video done.
Yeah, no, I just move in here. I'm like,
No,
no,
listen,
Dude,
I'm
like,
not
like,
leaving
like,
until
an hour
we
after
get
you got
this
here.
done.
Yeah, basically.
I
Eels
don't
food.
care if I have to take care of your cats at the same time, do your laundry for you or anything. I'm staying here until this video gets done.
exactly.
Yeah,
that's
basically.
exactly what I'm saying. I'm just gonna be here.
How's everybody else been doing this week? Anything interesting happen?
John,
Uh,
real quick,
Yeah,
you gotta
okay,
get
hey.
my stuff.
Where's your stuff, man?
And your stuff.
Oh no, okay. Here's the thing. So right now there's a giant box full of stuff that has a bunch of Bionicle parts, and my parts are somewhere in there. But it's just a big box. And I have
You
to
gotta
go in,
go
and,
through
finally
it,
get
find
that
my
somewhere.
stuff. I think I put my stuff
Find
in a
stuff?
bag. Hopefully Var kept all
Why
that
is your
stuff.
stuff
I can't understand the
there?
problem.
Like, why isn't it at yours?
Because I asked
begin with?
Var if he could ship some of the stuff that I wasn't able to take with me back home from Brick Fair, and he said he would do it. Never did it.
Dude, I found some of my stuff in Brick Fair. All the stuff I lost from Brick Fair, I was like, oh, I don't think I have that. It's here. So I got like my mask. I got my mask again. I got my my sig fig and all the little money figures I got. Got all of that finally. So
Why were your
that's
sig
cool.
pigs and minifigures at Var's house? Did you just forget them?
Yeah, I guess so. I must have, because he took them home. So I got that, and I'm
Wow.
gonna go find my
You
parts.
just-
What's your stuff?
My
Ben?
stuff is
What do
gonna
you
be,
have?
I think, in a JC Penney bag. Hopefully he left them all in there.
I think it was a clear bag.
No. Hey, cat. No.
Hey, cat!
I never thought I'd hear you say that.
Hey, Ben, I got your stuff.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Was
yeah.
it in
Yo,
the
here it
JC
is.
Penney bag?
Yeah. I guess
Oh,
we just
that's
go to call,
JC Penny bag.
That's amazing.
the call.
Dude, it would mean like
Well-
the world to me and a half if you could like just take those with you and ship them to me. I'll pay for the shipping.
All right.
Now
all
what
right.
if John
Yeah, we'll
takes
do.
them and then
John
keeps
takes
them
it back to his
until-
house.
I
Doesn't
don't like
see
it.
until
Never
Brick
gets.
Fair. Still.
Dude, you got a lot of parts here. Okay, these are canisters and stuff too.
Yeah, dude.
Then this was a mistake. You're gonna find things missing out of that bag.
The
Is he gonna
discovery of
choose?
Well,
things.
you know.
The Paragon or the
Oh,
Renegade
I'd rather
option?
find
like-
something than nothing at all.
I really like these canisters.
Yeah,
These
like
are pretty
this.
cool canisters.
Yeah,
They're neat
I think I'll
cans.
take
Hey,
one.
You got a lot
that's
of cool
pretty
stuff here.
good.
Holy,
Two.
whoa!
3.
There's
pretty
is
good.
this Jack Stone, or not Jack? What's his name? There's like a giant minifigure thing here. You know what I'm talking about?
Is it the
Giant
Technic
minifigure,
ones?
a giant
I honestly don't remember half the stuff that I got in there.
When you hear Meso, it's a giant minifigure thing. Come on.
Is it
No, I mean
Ant-Man?
like that's legitimately it. It's like a Technic kind of minifigure. It's got arms and leg, like bendable elbows and knees.
Yeah, the
No.
Technic.
Oh, you know what? It might be Galador.
No.
No, it's not.
Oh
it's
yeah,
not
Robbie
Galador.
bought that.
It's like double the height of like a normal minifigure, right? And it has like Technic
yeah.
holes
Oh,
on it.
I know what you're talking about. Okay.
This figure's super cool. Holy crap! It's got like the legs can move.
You should like take
out.
pics.
Yeah, okay, we'll do.
Yeah, remind you of what you had.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because it's been so long. I just remember I had canisters filled with parts, and I don't. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I didn't even dare get in there because the context here is that at Brick Fair 2016, BZ Powered, they did this really cool raffle thing
that was
toward
so
the
cool.
end where they had this giant box full of all sorts
It
of
wasn't
Lego
even a
pieces,
raffle,
primarily
really. They just
Bionicle.
put down a bunch of these boxes with parts and said, "All right, take what you want." And
Well, like just like contribute a certain amount. And you can,
oh yeah,
you'll
yeah.
be
Give
allowed
it,
to-
give
It
us
was-
Terrible
like
setup.
whatever
It was a
amount of
raffle.
money, and you can take like a bag full of stuff. And you,
Yeah.
So they gave everybody bags to like fill up with random
Yeah.
whatever the heck they wanted.
It was like the Lego version of the Purge.
Yeah, and honestly, you know,
People
it really
were like
disappointed me
throwing
because
each
these
other,
dudes.
like knocking each other, like scrapping for the
Yeah,
madness.
in the amidst all the scrap, these dudes found like manas, and this one guy found a chrome how, and I'm just like, what the
Unbelievable.
heck?
I remember,
How
like,
did I not?
I
it
got
might
a
have been
Manus,
you
man.
then,
I
but
got
like,
it.
I remember everyone was scrapping for the Manus, and there was one like right outside of the circle which you picked up.
That was me.
Oh, that was
I got
you.
it.
Okay,
Yeah,
it was
John
somebody
got
who
it.
That was
got
me.
Well, thankfully, one of us got it.
Yeah, they're like, oh hey.
Okay, so these are the. I'm sending some photos. Okay, so that first photo, it's a bad photo. Sorry.
Oh, what the
I apologize for
crap?
the potato quality. But it's this figure, and it's a giant minifigure. It's about more than I would say twice the height of a minifigure, and it's got all this articulation in it. It's got like shoulder and elbow articulation. The shoulder and legs have like a ball joint kind of articulation to them, and then the elbows they flex. Actually, the elbows are on a ball too, but the knees are not. The knees are like just normal back and forth. but then the legs are on a ball joint. So it's like it's got so much articulation. It's actually kind of crazy.
It's weird.
Insane without a brain.
Well, yeah, it probably wouldn't have a brain. It's plastic.
That'd be creepy if it did.
Very, very, very true.
And anyhow, that's another photo of what's inside your... I can't really get a good photo of what's inside the bag, but essentially that's it.
Okay.
What's
But
in
here
the
you go.
bag?
What's in
This
the
is all
bag?
your stuff, man.
What's
Awesome
in the
possum.
bag?
Well, at least the saga will end fun.
Yeah. The Ven stuff saga.
Yeah.
Hopefully he watches I never send it to him.
All right. So what's going on with the rest of you guys this week?
I worked.
Who wants to go first?
I
I reset
And
my
I slept.
computer.
Wait, Eljay reset his computer, lost a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you have to like reinstall everything, right?
Yeah, no, because I had to upgrade my
Yeah,
computer,
no.
and my younger brother and I, we worked on that. We added a new processor and a new motherboard.
Ooh.
I think your computer's
new
now
RAM.
much
You
more
got
on
more
par with the
dedicated
rest of
wham.
ours.
Yeah, my computer's practically on par with Meso's, which I believe is the best out of the group. So it runs nice and
Really?
buttery smooth.
You have an
now.
i7
This is
built
the
in
best
there?
out of the group.
Yes,
Very nice.
16 gigs, the works. The only
I
thing
think-
that's outdated is my graphics card, and I don't feel like spending that much more money now. But anyway, so I had to install all of that stuff and wiped everything.
You know, I
clean.
may actually be
Saved what
upgrading pretty
what I
soon as
remembered.
well, but I don't think I'm gonna do an i7. Actually, I don't think
Really? What do you
the
wanna do?
stuff I do on my computer warrants getting an i7. Honestly, because
Well, you do. You make your own series.
I
though, so
do,
you get,
but
like,
it's
some
they're
nice
small
rendering stuff.
videos. They're very short videos.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not like I'm making movies. And I was reading up on it, and a lot of people were like, "Yeah, if you just make short videos, or if you do fairly light video editing and gaming and stuff, the i7 is nice, has a lot of nice features, but you won't really be utilizing them all in the process." So,
Yeah, not necessarily getting your money's worth.
yeah,
out of it.
exactly. So I saw a lot of people recommending just sticking with a good i5 model, and I found one that'll suit my needs pretty well. Apparently, it's a good amount better than the processor I have now. So it will be an improvement. It won't be super crazy like the i7 though, but it'll do what I need it to, and it'll run things a lot smoother. It'll be a lot cheaper too, a whole $100 cheaper.
That is cheaper.
So it'll be
Can confirm
Yeah,
$100 cheaper
that-
is indeed cheaper.
That makes a lot of sense.
yeah.
I have an
My
i7
videos tend to
6
be a bit
core.
longer, so the extra power does help. Which reminds me, I got to get all my editing software back on my computer before Tuesday for the next gag reel.
Right.
Yep.
And even then, it's like the processor I have now is fine. It manages. It'll render videos like the time it takes for it to render videos is about the length of the video itself. So if it's a 10-minute video, it usually takes like 10 minutes or less to render it. So I figure if something's a little bit better, then I mean, dang.
Yeah, it's pretty good. All right. Well, that's awesome. Vin, something else crazy happened to you this week. You should talk about that.
Oh yeah, okay. So, very recently, I was informed that my GameStop that I work at, yeah, that's right. I don't usually talk about this, but I've been working at GameStop for a couple of months, and we were recently invited to attend this Nintendo event. And at first, I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Probably like a little press conference to tell us about the Switch or whatever. No, apparently this was more than that. It was an event where if you went, you actually got to go try out the Nintendo Switch for yourself and play some of the games. And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, I want on that like nobody's business. So I went yesterday. Just yesterday, I went and I went by myself, unfortunately. But I honestly did not mind. Like as soon as I walked in there were booths upon booths of games.
All the booths.
There were booths. Each booth had like a different game for you to try out. There was a booth for Sonic. There was a booth for Mario Kart. There was a booth for this new Tetris game that like this game is weird. Okay, this game, it's not just Tetris, it's also like Bejeweled, and after every minute of it like swaps between Tetris and Bejeweled, and you have to like compete with another player to see if you do better in either game. It's weird, but it was fun.
That is strange.
I smoked this one lady in Tetris. Like, every time Tetris came up, I was like, alright, now it's time, yeah. Like, rubbing my hands together like an evil supervillain.
Wow.
But, yeah.
It's all that Tetris Friends training.
Yeah. Some games had, like, a big thing, a big display and stuff for it. Like, they had a big thing for arms, and unfortunately, I did not get to try that out.
No.
There was a point where I wanted to, but all the stands were filled up. Like, people were already playing it. So I was just kind of waiting around. Then this one lady kind of distracted me. She was like, hey, yo, look at the console over here. And I'm like, okay, fine. I want to see what it looks like. Since she was showing me. And then all of a sudden, by the time she finished up, they started doing an ARMS tournament. And I'm just like, oh, no.
No.
Too late for that. They also had a big thing for Splatoon. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I never played Splatoon before, so they went over, tried out the new Splatoon. Really fun. I think I want to get Splatoon now.
Well, hey, then it served its purpose.
Yeah, it really did. Honestly, the whole convention sold me onto the Switch. Like, seeing the console, getting to hold it, getting familiarized with the features and stuff. Like, I saw...
How thin is it? Or thick?
It's actually pretty thin. It's, I would say it's
iPad
thinner
thin?
than... I would say it's not as thin as the iPad, but it's about as thin as maybe, like, the Surface Pro 2.
Okay.
Yeah. But
That's a good size.
and the screen size is surprisingly small. Like, I posted a picture yesterday. I'll see if I can look for it again right now. Or I compared it to the size of the Pro controller, which is an average size for a controller, I should add.
Yeah.
And it's surprising how close it is. Let's see. There we go.
Oh, neat.
And see, once you remove those, the Joy-Cons from the sides of the screen, yeah.
But it is smaller than the Wii U.
Oh, yeah,
Okay, cool. Because that thing was awkward. Yeah, okay.
It is, you know what? Where is my gamepad? I just had it right now. It actually might be
Lying
about
on
the
the
same
track.
size. I'm gonna lie.
I thought the Wii U pad was more than a little awkward to hold.
Yeah, it might be the same deal with this one. I didn't play it all too much with the whole thing in my hands. I tried it. I thought it was fine. I guess maybe I'm just used to the gamepad, though.
Yeah, you've played on it a long time.
Yes.
It's like when you get used to like the Xbox 360 controller and then you play like Xbox One and then you go back to the Xbox 360.
Yeah, you can't.
It's like all chunky. It's like, oh wow, I forgot how like thick this controller was.
Okay.
Totally.
I have the gamepad now. It's about the same size, but I would say it's a lot more comfortable to the hands, and the screen takes up more room.
Okay.
That's for sure. The whole thing's a lot thinner. I think a lot thinner. I don't know. There's something about holding the gamepad right now that's kind of like this is way more different than what I remember.
Fair enough.
So, but yeah, it's nice. One of my favorite things about this, I was telling you guys about it yesterday, was that I was able to just use the Joy-Con separately. Like I didn't attach them to the what's it called?
Ooh.
The holder.
The thing.
You know what I mean?
The whatever. Yeah.
So that it feels more like an actual controller. I had it detached from that at one point. The guy was telling me, like, yeah, dude, you could actually just play the game like that. You know, you can wave your arms around and still play Zelda however you want. You know, you could be chilling on your couch, your arms resting on the chair or whatever, and then you can still play your game. So I was standing, so what I did was I just laid both my arms to my sides. I just relaxed them, and I was playing Zelda just like that, with a Joy-Con in each hand.
That is pretty
And I'm
cool.
like, wow, I honestly never considered that to be a possibility.
Yeah, it's so weird, actually. I didn't even think of that either.
Yeah.
And that's a really cool thing
Yeah,
you can do.
I feel like this console accomplishes everything a modern console should, where you have a lot of options and everything is conveniently there. Like, I think that's the main thing, is that it's convenient as all... I can't swear, but it's convenient.
Nice. Well, that is awesome. So is it confirmed you will be making the
Oh, yeah, dude. I already pre-ordered a while back, and I'm a little bit biased because, like, I've been a Nintendo baby all my life, but after going to this event, it doubled my excitement. I was like, okay, Nintendo.
You're a Nintendo toddler now.
Nintendo, you had my attention before, but now Oh, no. I'm saying that wrong. You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. Like, now I really cannot wait.
Nice.
Yeah,
Dang,
now
girl.
you've invited him to an exclusive event 2 weeks before the launch of the console.
Yeah, basically the quickest way to win time.
No,
great.
now, imagine they did this with the Wii U and its launch titles.
If only. Imagine if they'd done literally anything with the Wii U.
Here's my thing. I don't think it would have been nearly as successful, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, because there's nothing you can do with
The Wii U
Wii U.
sucked. Like, I was thinking about it on the drive home. I'm like,
Wii U,
man,
more like PU.
if I went to
Am I
this
right?
event and they were showing off the Wii U and I got basically what the Wii U had to offer, I would have been driving home disappointed.
You can tap a menu on the screen, or you can swap to the TV.
Now the Switch is not a touchscreen, right?
Yeah.
That screen? That's not a touchscreen.
I believe
That
it does
is-
have touchscreen components.
Does it really? Okay.
I believe
I wasn't sure.
No games are currently utilizing it, but I do believe the technology is there.
Sorry, what was the question?
No, I said that does the screen have touchscreen capabilities?
I want to say yeah, but I haven't played any games that required touch, so I'm not 100% sure.
What I was reading, I don't know where I read this, but I did see that the no games currently use touchscreen.
Right.
But the functionality is there.
Yeah.
Prentice1215, our live studio audience, is confirming that the Switch does have touchscreen, and that Skylanders utilizes it.
Oh,
that's
Oh,
very
and
good.
Yeah.
speaking of
Funny,
Skylanders,
I tried Skylanders for like a minute, and then it was the first thing I tried, and then I was too excited to try everything else, so I only played it for a minute.
Wow. Well, either way, very interesting developments. I'm going to get a Switch, but it is not going to be at launch because I am in money-saving mode. Talk to me when Mario comes out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, get it for Zelda. No.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played a Zelda game before.
Me neither.
Start.
I'm not gonna start with Breath of the Wild. It'll ruin the older games for me.
So
What?
I gotta work my way from the
You
ground
never
up.
played an Elder Scrolls
Yeah, but
game
the thing is, you're never going to work your way up to start with.
Yeah. Did you ever play an Elder Scrolls game before you played Skyrim? I thought
Yeah,
so.
Oblivion. No, just kidding.
I did not.
There you go then. So shut up.
Well, alright.
No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, Meso, you probably only have to play like 1 or 2 games before picking up Breath of the Wild, just to get an idea of what the series is like. And one of those games that I would recommend is Wind Waker. 'Cause I've been
Okay.
playing that a lot recently, and I think that is a great introduction to the series.
this is
will
why
put
I'm
it
not
on
buying the Switch on launch day. And that is because it does not have what I feel should be like easy day one releases for the Nintendo Switch, and that is Twilight Princess and Wind Waker. For the Nintendo Switch, I don't know why when they're making these high resolution, these updated versions, I didn't realize that hey, there's going to be a lot of people buying the Switch who don't want to buy,
Honestly,
who's not going to buy the Wii U.
Now that I think about it, it's probably because they want to mostly promote Breath of the Wild and just get people on that more than anything. And then somewhere along the line, I bet once Breath of the Wild is kind of out there, people have been playing it for a while, and they crave more Zelda, then Nintendo could probably pull something like, oh, yeah, you want more Zelda? Guess what?
Here's more
Here's more Zelda, yeah.
They might actually do that, and that's actually not not too far fetched. That's honestly that's why I'm not getting it right now because if Breath of the Wild I want very badly, but I don't want enough to I can't justify a $300 purchase just to play
one
Breath of the
game,
Wild. Yeah, but if I had, hey, there's Breath of the Wild, and when you're done with that, you also have 2 other great experiences you remember as a kid that's remastered in HD. I'd be like, yeah, totally. I loved Twilight Princess, one of the first Zelda games I completed, and really loved Wind Waker 2. Never completed it, only played a bit of it back as a kid. But I always loved the art style and how it played and everything. So would definitely get those in a heartbeat. For 3
Fair
games,
enough.
I'm like, that makes sense. And, Mario
But
down the
dude,
line, but...
1-2 Switch.
Oh, yes. You can't forget the phenomenal...
You don't want to play the milking game with me, Johnny?
Ice
I'll
Cube
play the milking game
technology.
with you, like, in real life.
Dude, I played the
I can
milking
just
game with a
imagine
stranger,
you
and it was the
and-
most
You
awkward.
and Kahi with the milking game.
That would be incredibly awkward.
Dude, yeah, it was the
sounds
most
like a really bad pickup
awkwardly
line.
hilarious thing.
Like, hey, girl, you want to play the milking game with me on the Nintendo Switch?
Like before I got to try it out, I watched a father and son play it, and it was hilarious. It was just so funny. I almost could not keep it in.
Oh, man. Well, alright. That's awesome. I'm glad you had a fun time, man.
Yeah, thanks,
That's
man.
A very, very cool event you got to go to. As far as the rest of the podcast this week, let's really quickly... We're not going to talk about it much this week, but let's address the ongoing BIONICLE G3 talk about why we're not doing it this week. Kyle, you put up a poll on the boards.
Yeah.
Right? And we're encouraging people to go over there and check it out. Tell us a little bit about the
Oh
current
no.
thought process and what we're trying to work towards.
Okay, so we are
Just
trying
so
to
fans
work
can give
towards...
input on this.
Yeah.
all.
Okay, so this is... right now, we're trying to work towards what element should stay, what element should go, what character should stay, what character should go. Like, there's...
Should they stay or should they go?
Essentially, so there's 3 possible numbers that we have. It's either going to be 4, 5, or 6. 6 is traditional, 4 is efficient, 5 is a nice in between, etc., etc., etc. And then it's like, oh, what elements are we going to do? Because the huge controversy that's always been around is stone and earth, right? They're kind of redundant. Not kind of. They are redundant. Let's be real here. I've seen people in the comments try to justify it as like, well, stone is like a little different and earth is just dirt. And it's like, dude, okay, listen, man. Like, all right, I'm glad you're trying to like draw these like specific individual lines, but like, yeah, no. And people were trying. Now, here's the deal. So there's also controversy within our group about water and ice as well.
Yeah.
And so we're talking back and forth about that. We went on a
Controversy, that's hilarious.
huge. It's been a
That's a
huge
nice
debate back
way
and
of putting
forth.
We basically had like this crazy debate and then just said, all right, we have to wait. We gotta just.
We
like,
do have to
pause
wait, and it's a
And
shame
of course,
because I
the
didn't want to talk
person
about it this
in
week.
the absolute center of it isn't here. He's
He's
snoozing.
asleep.
No, he's awake now.
He's awake.
Yeah, he passed me Vince parts. That's how I got that.
What?
Oh, no.
What? You didn't say that.
He
You
said
didn't
it
mention
down.
that
Did you not
earlier.
hear him?
Yeah,
I thought you
what?
heard him.
Yeah, you never said jack
You didn't
squat
even.
about
You
that.
didn't even
just
say
like, "Oh, I
thank
said I got
you.
your part."
You didn't even say thank you.
No, I mean like no. He was like, I mean, you like we were talking about. I was like, I don't know where your parts are, Ben, and he like pointed at this thing, and he
Maybe
grabbed
Connie,
it from
can
the
you
side
like
and set it
swap
over
out
here.
with Var?
I could. Well, I could. I honestly could. I don't know where he is right now.
Just tag in, tag out.
Yeah.
All right,
but no,
he's
yeah.
working on some stuff. So, Var, do you want to switch? You want to switch in? We'll like tag in, tag out.
Okay.
All right, he said sure. So you'll be hearing from Var in a
he's coming
sec.
in.
The old switcheroo.
Swap
This is
man's
how it's gonna-
controversial opinion.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so I would say that while Earth and Stone are redundant, water and ice are part of these are very distinct power sets. I know they come from the same kind of source, like ice is frozen water, but really like ice is more about like lowering the temperature of things, like cooling, almost like someone on the boards put it as like weaponized liquid nitrogen, which is a great way of putting it. It's like, if you think of any characters that use freezing powers in like comic books or everything, they have a very distinct power set, different from the people that just control water.
Yeah.
I feel like that's I feel like you can make that distinction. That doesn't mean you have to, but you can make it more than Stone and Earth, which I don't think is
Yeah,
such a
Stone and
clear
Earth
distinction.
has always been confusing. It's like, does that mean that Pohatu controls pebbles and Onua controls giant boulders? Like, I don't,
I think given Var had a suggestion that I'd like him to bring up regarding the Earth.
I'd like him to bring it up when we actually are
Get better
having
headphones. What is
this.
this?
whole debate. I just wanted to give like a primer.
Get better headphones. What is this? Maybe you should generate more money.
Wow.
We should have money as an element.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi guys.
Hey, Vi,
how
you
are
sound very tired.
All right. What's going on?
Podcast, just talking.
What are your
this is the
opinions
podcast.
on elements?
My opinions on elements?
Yeah. Like what elements?
We're not actually doing our talk, but we're just giving a primer so fans can go vote in the poll and talk about it next week.
Primer to fan. Well, I mean, personally speaking, I think the poll is pretty stupid. So I wouldn't recommend going to that poll.
Wow.
Poorly
All right.
done.
Well,
It doesn't actually do a good job of getting true opinions down.
never mind.
What true opinion were you looking for?
I don't know, man. It's just not that good.
All right.
I was like, no one agrees with me on this poll, therefore. To be fair, I don't agree with people in the poll either. People say a lot of people want 6. I'm like, I don't want 6.
I actually haven't
want
even looked
six.
at the poll, to be honest. I voted on it, and then I haven't checked the topic since. So I don't actually know if people agree with me or not.
Been a jungle. It exploded.
It's because
it's like people
lot of
are
facts.
arguing a bunch now. People are like
Kahi's
screaming
talking,
and,
but he's not next to the microphone.
stop talking.
There's only one microphone. How much? What do you expect here?
We wanted to tag out with get VAR in here, not have like VAR be there.
okay.
Yeah, like
Tag out
which
now.
do you want, man? Make up your mind.
All right, I'm here.
Anyway, how's life
Well, that
going?
sucks. Life's good.
Nice. How is it having John around?
It's been okay. I went to bed at 2. Didn't go to bed until 4 a.m. because I was up all night because of the sounds of Overwatch playing and my cats the cats that wanted to leave my room because they kept meowing and I couldn't let them leave because someone here is allergic to cats apparently. So
I'm sorry about the Overwatch.
that's fine.
That's hilarious.
All right, then.
So I told you guys, man, you gotta give that Overwatch a break. Now someone's actually losing
Yeah,
sleep over it.
I feel like you just voiced how my family feels every time I play or speak to you guys.
Yeah,
Can't go to sleep all that Overwatch playing.
faux
I've had
show.
people come in and threaten me because I've been too loud.
Yo, I swear
It's like,
I
I
am
swear
going
I'm gonna
to
smash that Xbox
wrinkle
if you don't
all of
shut
your
up.
nice dry clean
Why am I
clothes
here? Why don't I just
if you
use
do
my own
not
setup?
stop Overwatch.
This tag-in idea is stupid.
Well, we
All right,
We can see
you can
Okay,
leave.
I'll be right
Leave,
back.
Bart.
I'm gonna sink in.
All right.
This
We're
is
just
dumb.
gonna do it. All right.
Be right
All
back.
right, fine. Well, I guess maybe we can't have the debate if he's gonna sink in. I don't know.
Oh, he's gonna sink in. Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I get it. So
Okay.
Violating core podcast.
is this a new
principle
precedent that
number
we're
one.
setting? If I have another TTV cast member just have a slumber party with me, I could show up late to the podcast.
All right,
Yeah,
Ben, I'm
okay,
coming
fine.
over, Ben.
I will listen if you have a TTV member over at your house and then you want to tag in and do whatever. Sure, as long as someone's on the podcast first. Why not?
All right, Eljay, you know what we're
Yeah.
gonna do.
Heck yeah.
Sleep in.
But,
Slumber
but Ben,
party.
Oh yeah.
I've never actually been a part of the closest thing to a slumber party
Fair.
I've been a part of was Brick Fair.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in which you
Great
slept
man.
on the floor. Even though we
mean-
got you an airbed.
To be fair, you do sleep on the floor in slumber parties sometimes.
Yeah,
You're
In a
piece of work,
in a
Jim.
sleeping bag. Yeah.
yeah. Most
but if
people
you've
that
got an
have a
airbed,
bed
you
for
don't.
themselves usually only have a bed for themselves. So.
Especially if somebody pays for that airbed and you just you don't use it.
I love this
Yep.
comment from a live audience member, Scorpion Strike. How do you know? You've never been part of one.
It's
It's
true.
a fair point.
It's true. Actually, in slumber parties, we just hang up hammocks and we sleep from that.
I wouldn't.
I'd
I
love
wouldn't
to
for
sleep
Brick
in a
Fair.
hammock.
I wouldn't call it a slumber party because we didn't actually sleep. We
All
stayed
right,
up.
guys,
totally
let's
did.
sync VAR in.
All right, let's do this.
So you're recording, VAR?
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so
Welcome
I can
to the
hear
party.
Kahi in the background while he's also talking on Discord.
Yeah, I
And
can hear you.
It's
Okay,
like
that
a
sounds
slight
weird.
delay.
Turn
and-
each
That's
other down on
weird.
Discord, jeez. No.
But I can't
Turn
hear
each
him
other
that
down in real
clearly.
life.
Though. That's
Okay,
the
turn him
problem.
down a little bit.
Turn him down in real life.
No, I have to. For me, I have to turn down real life VAR a little bit.
Yeah, that's the problem. If I could
Okay,
turn
then
down real life
the
content.
real life VAR down a little bit.
Let's turn it down. Yeah.
For what?
Turn down for what?
Turn it up.
Also, people in the comments, live studio audience, if you're a Patreon member, you can join our Discord, be a live studio audience. They're reminding me to say Mardi Gras, so Mardi Gras. And it's actually appropriate because my local Mardi Gras parades are tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We are ready for takeoff in 3, 2, 1.
There's gonna be some echo on time.
I'm very curious to know what that sounded like for Coffee.
That sounded. It was like surround sound. You know, like Dolby Digital. I was like,
Yeah,
whoa.
it's
It was
like
like
that-
you were there, you know.
Exactly.
It's like that
You were there
IMAX.
for the draw.
It's like that IMAX advertisement where it's like, dude.
Yeah. Or the
Yeah.
THX intro thing. Do they still have that in like TVs?
I think so.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Same.
So you guys are both here, but the setup is admittedly not ideal, and we're already like 40 minutes into the podcast. Do we want to have this debate this week? Or do we just want to give a primer so fans can give their
No, I mean,
opinions,
let's
and then we'll hash it out next week?
let's just go into it and see how far we go, and then if we're to like,
Yeah, see,
We
what
need a
you gotta
bail, we'll
do is
bail.
apply the primer, then add a little bit of light coat, just one
Right.
coat at a time,
and then like then apply again.
All
and
right,
then you,
in that
then you
case,
let it
Var,
cure for
pitch
a
us-
couple of days.
Okay, what are we doing?
The G3 talk. Pitch us your controversial idea, because Kai is doing the poll about eliminating one
Oh,
character,
whoa.
or 2 characters, or 3 characters. Not 3 characters, only 1 or 2. Common consensus is eliminate Phweffie with stone, and then keep the other 5 elements intact. But you have other ideas,
Right.
and then I have another idea as well. My idea is super simple. It's just keep all 6 Toa, but make Phweffie Sonics. And make him like the chill dude who like uses sound as his power and listens to music. and
Sonics
like,
is
super
okay, I
friendly.
guess, but to me it doesn't seem.
Make him Lucio.
It just doesn't.
Yeah, I
it
was
doesn't
just
sound
gonna
like
say
a real
that's Lucio.
element. That's the problem for me. Is that it's not like a defined element. It's sort of like
To
it's.
manipulate the sound barrier.
Yeah, I know, but
Well, he
that
could-
sounds like
it
a
doesn't need to
sub
be
element.
Sonics.
That's the thing.
Yeah, no, you can, like Toa's sound seems like a decent enough like title. No cat, that's my elbow.
You could have like a
Just like pick it up and move it. Actually, which cat is that? Is it
like,
Ben or
start
Daisy?
breaking
Break out
out.
in hives.
If he
It's
touches
the one with
it,
the
he
blue
basically
collar?
explodes.
They both have blue collars.
Oh wow, that was an oversight.
Is it orange or
I have
black?
no idea. It's black.
Oh yeah, just pick him up and move him.
Okay.
Get moved, cat.
He doesn't care.
Yeah. So
Yeah, and Finn doesn't.
What-
He doesn't give any cares at all.
yeah,
Nice save. High five.
that's safe.
It wasn't a save
All right.
though. I intended to say give any cares.
Yeah, okay.
Listen,
All right.
with the elements thing, I don't know, man. I feel like there's a lot of elements that we currently have that are just too similar to each other,
yeah.
and I don't know, man. I don't really think ice is that important as an element. I feel like it can be combined between 2 other elements through teamwork. And
Yeah.
Kopaka himself as a character is the foil character is nice and all, but I don't think it necessarily has to be pertain to Kopaka as a whole. And I feel
It's
like
not just the foil character. I feel like Kopaka has a lot of like he's a very distinct character. I would argue in terms of the Toa.
Batman.
Yeah, possibly the second most defined character in that role.
what was his
It's
character
tricky
in
because I
G2?
like,
Yeah.
Kopaka's
Right.
the
What
was
one
anyone's
from
character in G2?
Exactly.
I could never. Yeah, but like Kopaka's was a special case. I could never like figure out what they were going for with Kopaka.
He was
out of any of the
clumsy, I
characters.
guess.
He was clumsy.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm with you. Kopaka G2 is a terrible character, but Kopaka G1's a better character. And I feel like there's a lot you can go with that character to making him beyond just the foil, like, you know, the calculatedness, the adding like all that element into it. There's no other character like that currently.
Yeah, but if we're talking like basic elements, like okay, here's
Yeah.
what we're running into. We mentioned that Gali and Onua kind of have similar.
They've got
characters.
similar characters. Meanwhile,
like
Gali and
mediators.
Kopaka have similar power sets.
Yes, because Ice. The main thing that Ice has going for it, and the main reason why, when all's said and done, I might still be in favor of keeping it, is just because it does have a visual.
It's solid.
design.
That's its own, really only difference.
It's got
No,
know,
it's like
basically.
ice is not just solid water in the power set it's being used in. I guess it's more like
Temperature.
yeah, it's more temperature. It's more like so it's not.
But in my pitch, the Toa of wind could potentially control temperature.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
It's like nature and stuff.
the velocity of like wind can like
Sure,
change
but
My
the
thing is,
temperature.
if we're going to cut elements, I find that streamlining it as much as possible is the better way to go about it. And some characters are very similar to others. Stone, earth, very similar. Some don't make a lot of sense. Jungle, for instance.
Yeah.
Some of the color schemes I'm just not a fan of. Air being just Mata green. You know, all these things are things that I personally am not a big fan of, and I would rather streamline that and reduce it down a bit more, and give more distinct characters to a smaller character set, and more distinct powers to a more refined elemental set.
So if you could have your 4 characters, which is what you're going with, who would they be?
Right. Now, keep in mind, this is only if we're cutting elements. I feel like if we're going to cut stone, we might as well cut ice, too. If we
I
want
feel
to
like
stick
cut
with 6,
stone and-
then I can stick
and
with 6.
ice.
You can keep Kapak
I
and
wanna
That's
Palak.
what I would
with
rather
6.
do. But go on.
Yeah. But if we're cutting 2, or cutting elements, I want to cut 2, I would reduce it to 4, make it an even 4 there. The elements that I'm thinking of would be fire, water, earth, and wind. Not air, not jungle, wind. My rationale with earth is that earth is basically being redefined almost in its entirety. It's no longer the element of rock or ground as much as it is the element of nature in general. So when I'm thinking of a color scheme for Anua, for instance, it would be like a mixture of blacks and browns and greens. It'd be a very earthy, nature-looking
so like
palette.
like color scheme of like camouflage, basically, like that kind of.
Not really. Camouflage is ugly.
I guess that
No,
would-
I mean like
but
the
technically
colors
has
in
the colours,
camouflage. I didn't mean
Basically,
camouflage
Umarak.
itself.
One of the fans just commented Umarak and then things, and yes, Umarak is kind of a good idea of a color scheme I'd be thinking of for this potential Earth element.
I would be so down just for like a set-based stuff. So this earth element would be able to control soil, terrain, kind of like Anua, but also plants and stuff.
Right.
Like
He
jungle.
has basically the power set would be to manipulate the surroundings around him to some extent. Now, obviously, I believe there should be rules to it. I don't think he should be able to just lift up rocks from the ground and toss them around as though he's got telekinetic powers. However, I imagine in his head, when interacting with the environment, it's almost like he's talking with it, sort of. Like he can suggest things to plant life and everything, make it kind of act on its own. He can sort of split the ground, like move the plates, the tectonic plates of the ground, so that it can open up crevices or it can close up, it can form around. But he can't lift it. He can't do something that the ground can't already do, you know? Mm-hmm. So I think there should be a rule set to it, because I think, like Kai, you mentioned when I initially pitched it that it sounds overpowered, and I agree that it does sound overpowered, but we're writing the story, we can write the rules, and I feel like it should be a bit more grounded than that, obviously. But yeah, so my reimagining of Earth would be that it's more of a nature sort of element.
And that's the trick with this pitch, because I do like the idea of keeping all the Toa, like, there. I don't really want to cut any of them. I think 6 works fine, but at the same time, I really, really, really like that power. I think it's more well defined than either Earth or Jungle ever was. It just makes sense to do it that way.
Yeah.
So I don't really know. Like, basically, even if we don't cut the elements, I would probably still want Earth to have some control over plant life and stuff, just because that makes
Right.
sense.
And I feel like
More
the
so
green
than-
color scheme makes more sense with Earth, too. So,
Yeah. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. That was just my my thoughts when it comes to Earth, and like, because I like the power of Jungle, but it sounds really like specific to the point of being kind of silly. That it's like the power of Jungle, and I never really quite got that. So I think maybe switching up the name a little bit, giving it a slightly different power set, and maybe attributing it to a different Toa would help make it more interesting. And I don't know, just it adds something new to the story that we haven't already seen before. So I don't know, it kind of switches
What
things
if,
up.
like, kind of like in a concept art, just like spitballing with Jungle, like it doesn't have a lot of applicability, and I agree, because like it really only shines when he's in a jungle. What if he could do stuff like just materialize jungle-related objects? Like Liwa or whoever jungle Toa is could like materialize like Venus flytraps like from the concept art and just like stick them in his hands and like he just kind of fights with them just like in that one concept art piece.
All right, so let's take a look actually at what you have for us.
As far as color schemes are concerned, I wanted them to be visually like similar, but also different enough that they represent different elements. But I wanted elements of each other to be in their color schemes. So what I did was use the second. Basically, I switched up the primaries. So the masks themselves are the color of their secondary color, but not their primary. For me, the element of air, its primary color is white because it's air. Its secondary color is green. Element of earth, its primary color is black. Its secondary color is brown and green. And element of water, obviously, the primary is like a darker blue. And fire, the primary is orange instead of red. And with that, I added the secondary of these elements to another Toa. So, or the primary to another Toa. So the primary of fire, being orange, is becoming the secondary for water. So orange is kept in that color scheme as well. Secondary for wind could be green. Move that over to the primary of earth, green. And then move the brown color scheme, black, a little bit over to air by giving him a cape. That kind of thing.
Those designs look so cool.
I'm down for this.
I wasn't like, I don't know. I have mixed feelings, but the art you posted is helping me visualize what you're going
Part of it
for.
is that, like, what I've noticed is an ongoing trend. Whenever we're able to see concept art, that's when we're like,
That's
okay.
exactly why
Yeah.
I've been wanting to work on it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's because I feel like everybody has a very set idea of what they think I'm talking about, but they don't actually know what I'm talking about. So,
What I love about these concepts is, like, even if we did decide to go with the other 6 elements, like, I mean, the other 2 elements, like, these designs could still work. I really like these designs. Mm-hmm. I like Onua having, like, the leaves and the shoulders, and Liwa having, like, the kind of cape thing.
yeah.
That's a very unique kind of a look.
I would want to keep them... So these I just kind of drew during the night I initially pitched this while everybody was talking crap about me and, like saying how unoriginal the idea was. So that's why I decided to draw these.
Not
during the
everyone.
conversation.
Nice.
But
I didn't do that.
so these are very like makeshift, like in the middle of the night kind of designs. If I would want to refine them a little bit more. I want to keep the tribal aesthetic. I think that's one of the best parts of G2 is the reimagining.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, totally. All those prints.
100%.
Yeah. With minifigures, we're a bit more open because we don't have to create new elements specifically to like represent a cape or cloth or anything.
Right.
So I think honestly, if you could go a bit more wild, not too like crazy because obviously it's a minifigure, but add different cloth elements and everything to really represent the sort of tribal aesthetic, tribal clothing that they might wear. So things like capes and shoulder armor, shoulder like scruffs and different cloths, leaves, things that they might find in the environment that they would use as clothes. Something that they could put on to really like add to that aesthetic a lot more. So that's something that I would sort of like. But yeah, that's just sort of visually what I was sort of kind of thinking.
Okay.
Very interesting. Open the floor. What all you think about these designs?
Designs
We're not
I
deciding
like.
anything right now. Just like
Designs I like a lot.
Designs, I still feel there's room for the other 2. Also, while I do like them, and I do like this Liwa design, this is a personal bias. I hate green and white as a color scheme. I don't know why. I can't really explain it.
I like dark
Just
green and
never
white.
liked that color scheme.
No, I actually like the green and the white that VAR has going for us. I actually feel like that
It does
pulls in
make
that,
sense.
I feel
that
if
wind
it's
aspect
if
better.
it's
It
the
makes
bright green
logical
and white,
sense.
it would
I'm
look
not
quite
saying it doesn't
gaudy.
make sense. It perfectly fits, and it's
Unlike actual Lego plastic, if it was the bright green and white, it would look pretty gaudy. It looks good
Gaudy?
on this concept art piece. I feel
Do
like
explain what
either
you mean
needs to
there,
be-
because I'm not sure I understand.
The colors, they're both so bright, there's not enough contrast. At least that's like how I would imagine it.
It
It would
looks
either
kinda
need to
pale.
be bright green and silver, or dark green and white.
We will. Yeah, we would need to
Now,
like pay attention.
Granted,
to Lego colors.
if it was actual Mata green and white, that might look better than G2 green. And
Actually,
white,
I'd
'cause it's
probably
darker.
hate that more.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just spitballing here because like it's darker to me. There'd be
It's
more,
weird.
Like,
I like seeing characters.
I feel like perhaps you'd be right if we're still thinking in construction terms, but I don't know if I would agree with the minifigure print.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
that
true.
honestly,
I don't
that
know
was
if it
part
could
of
be
the
handled.
hardest part of actually, like, when I actually sat down and started trying to draw the Toa, is thinking of them as though they would
Yeah.
like, fit into a minifigure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
Because it's weird
been
because
hard
like, at
for
the
me
same
to
time
do,
there's
too.
less area, there's like less space to do the print, but there's more because you can do more detail on minifigures. You know, like there's more parts in construction, but you can do more on a minifigure. So I
Yeah.
don't know. You can make it work.
Well, I'm looking at how you have these organized, and I think that they could totally work. You look at the shoulders. You know, you have a dual mold shoulder with like for Leo, if you have a white and the green. I posted the color palette that we have
We need to get an
for
updated
Lego.
version of that. Give me a sec.
Sure, yeah. I don't know. This is just the first one I found on Google.
I know something. That's cool. Give me a moment.
There's like the Unikitty green. There's like the medium yellowish green that could work. We'd have to like see how that.
Yellowish, green, black.
I haven't had it, so I don't know how it looks like on system.
Let's get
But
spring
like,
yellowish green up in here.
well, I'm looking at like some of the stuff you have. I feel like the orange, of course, makes a lot of sense in the since like the minifigure have an orange body with the red decaling, and of course it would be. You can actually do, like Meso was saying, way more detail than what you put here necessarily. We've seen that with other things beforehand. My main thing is that, okay, I'm looking at these characters as just the four, and I'm like, I do feel like there is some element missing from just having these four. I don't mind if Kopaka was no longer an ice character, but I do feel like the actual character of Kopaka is very important. I also feel like with ice they have a region. You know, they have the village, the ice village. I feel is
The frozen village.
can be very visually distinctive.
Real quick,
while the
I
creative
feel like
architecture
this
could
is
be
kind
used
of
there.
funny in hindsight. But Var, your proposed pitch for the change to Earth, the darkest shade of green that Lego makes is called Earth Green.
That's funny.
It's a
Continue.
sign.
There you go.
Yeah, like you were just talking about the ice village, and that is a very, very iconic kind of a landscape. That's one of the only reasons why I'm still want Kopaka in there. And it made me thinking, like, I'm still trying to fit my
I don't know.
Pohatu's sound narrative. Wouldn't it be cool if, like, Pohatu's village was, like, the most high-tech out of, like,
Honestly,
all the rest of the villages in the island, and they had, like, speaker systems and
I think
stuff.
it would
really.
still work
No.
as just
I
being
wouldn't like
as
that
having
personally.
Pohatu
I feel like that
be
just
a Toa
stands out a bit
stone.
too much.
Rats.
I think if
Foiled
Pohatu's still
again.
Toa Stone, I think it could work if these changes to Earth were made. Because hypothetically,
That's actually a good point. Honestly, like with these
'cause
changes, you
Earth
could probably
and
add
soil
that.
and jungle.
Actually, no. Wait, no, it wouldn't. Still doesn't
Well,
make
yeah.
any sense. What is Pohatu still a Toa of stone?
Well, here's the thing: what are the parameters to Earth? Because when I think Earth, in the sense that you've been talking about it, I'm thinking potting soil, nutrient-rich soil and dirt. I'm not thinking hard stones.
Or
I'm
boulders.
thinking rocks.
Yeah.
Those, to me,
Don't
could
make
be
him
different.
stone. Make him rock. It's an important distinction. The Toa
Yeah.
of rock.
No, I think
I-
rock sounds.
I feel like that's still too similar to ground.
Yeah, no, I'm there too. I don't know what it would be,
Well,
but
this Toe of Earth be controlling stone? Like,
He couldn't lift it up and throw it. No.
would it be possible that a Toa of stone could, but not
super
control?
strong.
Yes,
Yeah,
but
like
a
in
Toa
G2.
of wind could as well.
yeah.
I suppose. But I guess
like this
I guess
one
there's
comment.
I suppose there's a difference between lifting it up and then molding it.
Yeah, because I mean,
can
like,
pick up a handful. of dirt.
here's a scenario that I imagine. Right, let's say there's an enemy in front of Anua, and Anua is a bit of a distance away, right? But he wants to hit that guy with something. He can't throw a rock at him, but I can imagine he'd be able to shift the plates beneath him, kind of mold the earth a little bit to where he can sort of form like a ramp almost, and like shoot rock over that ramp with force and have it go flying at the guy and like aim it that way. So there's a way to cheat the system to where you could achieve something similar without having to just pick it up and throw it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. While I understand what you mean and I can envision that, I still do think it is feasible, given those changes, for both to coexist.
Scorpion Strike says, I think Onua's power regarding the soil would be limited to loose-packed soil and sand, while a Toa of Stone can legitimately move boulders and affect large, rigid crystal structures. A la what... This is my part. A la kind of what G2 did with Onua.
Yeah.
Just
I don't know if
just
that's
adds
about
more
sand,
visuals.
because sand is just tiny rocks.
It would make it visually different. I just don't know. I still feel like you're going back to the power set being too similar, and then...
Right. Well,
Honestly,
it's a subset
I feel
of
there's
Earth.
a lot stronger an argument, provided these changes are a thing. There's a lot stronger an argument for axing either water or ice, as opposed to stone or dirt.
I
soil.
completely disagree. I feel like stone is the easy argument is stone and earth, and then you could also make an argument for water and ice, but I feel like they're distinct enough that you don't need to.
With these changes being made.
That's what I mean. With these changes,
Because beforehand,
if
our
Earth
biggest
was
problem
more,
with stone and earth was it bled together, not in the sense of what their powers could do, but what their powers actually ended up looking like.
yeah.
With this, it's very clear. I'm imagining the visual BIONICLE TV show. The kind of stuff that Onua would do is nothing like the kind of stuff Pahatu would do.
What kind of stuff would Pahatu do,
creates
though?
that visual distinction. You could do basically, if Onua strictly deals with earth, as in the concept of soil and jungle and trees and nature, then
Nutrients.
Pahatu would be the one who's left with the boulders, the rocks, the minerals. Well, maybe not minerals, but ores, crystals, iron. People always want Toa of iron. That could be Pahatu's thing. He could access that kind of things, crystal structures, minerals and ores down in the earth, fortify himself with iron or diamond or whatever.
So real quick, I just wanted to...
Like Quake Beast, I'm thinking.
Oh. Well, real quick, I just wanted to expand on Vara's designs, because recently I've been trying to sort of sketch out the Toa in a more minifigure-friendly sort of design. And I did show you guys the other day. So what I did just now was I applied Vara's color scheme and tried to get his ideas more in there.
Ooh.
Just to kind of see what that would look
Man, you
like.
are fast.
Alright, yeah, I like them all except Lewa. It just... Yeah.
I like
I
Leela.
really like Onua.
Honestly, out of all the changes that we've been going through, I actually feel like the changes to Leo's color scheme is
Actually, I kind of like.
very good
I
one.
kind of like Lewis.
The thing that doesn't work with Leo for me and your design, Vin, is that he doesn't have... For one, I feel like the cape is important to sort of mixing up the color scheme and keeping it interesting.
Right.
Also, I don't like the yellow, the stones or diamonds on him. I feel like I would reduce yellow to strictly an eye color, not actually a part of the color scheme itself.
So
At least
you
not
don't
if there's
think
gonna
he
be
should
white
have
there.
like a tertiary? Well, so you're suggesting that his tertiary color should be the cape, and...
Right. That's sort of
Okay.
like beigey brown almost.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I could do that in another design.
My problem is I personally don't like the white and the green. And objectively, it's logically sound, and I'm sure there's some grounds to it being a good color scheme. It's just a personal preference, but I cannot honestly offer a better solution because it makes
I
sense.
could make
It's-
the green darker.
I don't know.
I don't think you should
'Cause-
make the green darker.
Yeah. I think the bright green actually works better because the dark green... I hate matte green and white way more. This makes sense. It's just I naturally don't like white and green combined.
Wow.
If I had it my way, he wouldn't be green at all. The only reason I kept him having some green is because visually I feel like it's important, if you're going to adapt Lewa as a character,
Yeah.
to at least have him look
little-
immediately
yeah.
recognizable. So that's why I refuse to change the colors of their mask, because that's the part that everybody remembers them looking, or the part that everybody recognizes. So for each Toa's mask, I kept their original, or at least close to their original colors. So for me, Lewa's color scheme is not green, it's white. That's his color, that's his primary color. Green is just there to make sure he's still recognizable.
Yeah.
But I also feel like green looks
Hypothetical.
okay with white too.
Here's a hypothetical. If white is Lewa's primary color, in this hypothetical world where we did have Kopaka, What would his color be?
I mean, that's the thing, right? That's part of why I wanted to remove him, because for one, I don't like the element. I don't like the location either. I feel like a lot of arguments have been made that it's really visually distinct. I don't think so.
Yeah, but I think we could have a cool color for Kopaka. Make him primary, transparent, light blue, a la Chima minifigures, secondary white. So you would have like the Chima Ice Tribe minifigures, so they have trans blue body parts. You would have a trans blue torso.
At that point, if we had all 6 Toa, we'd have 3 of them with blue in their colors.
Have we had transparent minifigures before?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't think
Oh, yes.
Wait, have we?
I don't think transparent
Can
as
you
a
link
primary
this?
color.
I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
I don't know what it looks like.
I'll go grab it.
I don't think transparent colors as a primary color would work.
Work.
I don't think they had torso. I
Yeah,
think
they had
limbs.
every single piece except for torso and the one connecting the legs. Otherwise, all of it has been transparent. The first sign of transparency, instead of just the head, was with these Star Wars.
I can name a sort of
Force
transparent
thingy.
minifigure off the top of my head too. One of the Electro minifigures had like transparent arms
Yeah.
and stuff. Like, yeah.
Well, they did start like some time before
Here you
that,
go,
but
Var.
yeah, it exists.
yeah.
Thank
Some
you.
of the sets also had transparent armor to go on top of their.
Yeah, I'm
torso,
looking at that
which
now.
achieved the look.
Yeah, I just linked probably the best example.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
this
best
is
example.
definitely the
Age.
best example. I have no clue we even had transparent minifigures like this before.
Fangar's neat. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I can see the transparent blue, and I love transparent pieces, but that's a lot of blue already. Although, personally, to be fair, I wouldn't have blue on Tahu, because while I understand it, I think at least on a minifigure, it might not work as well.
I felt it worked well on the concept that
I
one of my
actually
fans
did.
made.
I thought it was a little bit too visually cluttered, color-wise.
My pages are loading.
Additionally, blue, when it comes to fire, is usually regarded as a very, very, very hot flame. And I think that's something we could save for a later time. If he upgrades or he masters fire to a much greater
See, okay,
extent.
Lame.
That's another thing that I feel. And I haven't really mentioned that either, but that was part of our discussion initially when I talked about this pitch. Was that the Toa that they evolve over time, their powers begin to expand a bit more.
It's the interpretation of like Toa Nuva or whatever,
Right.
but done differently.
Instead of getting new forms with new powers or new skill sets, they just kind of improve their current power set and gain more control over it. For instance, you could start Anua's Earth off by only being able to control soil, only being able to control the ground. Then he can expand to plant life, then he can expand to stone and rocks and be able to levitate that and everything. It's part of the evolution of their character and their strength that they would be able to evolve their skills a bit more over time.
So, LJ, I'm gonna kind of interject this in, kind of pull back to your original point too. Looking at the original cast of Toa that we got, especially in 2015, 3 of them have gold in their color scheme, and 3 of them have silver. And so, I'm not necessarily saying that we need to have 3. I'm saying that like 3 characters with one element, tying them all together, isn't necessarily unheard of in Lego, and I don't think it actually ruined it. I feel like with Kopaka and Tahu would do it.
Either. When it comes to colors with Bionicle sets, metallics are generally considered to be neutral. They're very similar to black and gray in that instance, where they're bright and they're metallic, but they're not side-specific. They're not very character-specific. They're very neutral. You can use them with anything. That's why in Bionicle you'll often see good guys and bad guys using gold or silver or what have you, because it doesn't lean towards one side. Blue is a very character-specific color, and in this instance, it's only used on 2 characters where blue is applicable, and that is ice and water. The Toa are very distinct in having
I will say.
those colors, but metallics are neutral, so yeah.
I do feel that dark azure and trans light blue are different enough.
My only thing is like
I don't
if
like
we
the
can
idea
keep
of
it
having
to
trans as
2,
a main color unless you're an important character, though, personally speaking. Unless, I mean, maybe if you were able to translate that into every character so that they all had transparency.
which I don't know if we really want to do.
Special.
Well, the thing is that
like
makes him
Frozen.
too special, though. He stands
Only
out.
because Lego's like established this stupid precedent for trans pieces being like super powered.
I think if you were
like bright pieces.
I think if you were to line up all 6, 5 Toa, however many we have, and they all have solid like color palettes except for Kopaka, which has trans armor over his armor or something, then I think even like
he'd stand out.
Yeah, even like the smallest kid would see that and think he's special versus the others.
I can't say you're wrong, but only because like it's like a hypothetical thing. I'm saying like how I do it. Lego and their stupid transparent overdose has ruined it. So yeah, I must begrudgingly agree.
I don't necessarily think that's true either.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that statement has anything to do with it.
It was only with BIONICLE G2 where they started to make like transparent stuff being like the super powered form. Otherwise, all their construction lines prior, HF used transparent pieces all the time solely to represent fire. It didn't mean it was special. Legends of Chima Construction used transparent pieces to represent ice because ice is frozen over and it was glowing blue. Didn't mean they had superpowers or whatever.
Yeah, but the ice creatures were definitely special though.
Yeah, the only instances where that is the case for the Toa, or at least the Uniters, was in their armor, the new add-on piece. Like in Journey to 1, everything else was solid. And the Toa didn't upgrade in power. They were the exact same power level unless they were combined with a creature. That's not the indication. All the Toa had transparent colors.
All of the Toa had transparent colors because G2 began to use transparent colors to like represent like if you're going to be powerful or you're going to be supercharged and be in tune with your elements, you have to have a transparent color.
Like the protectors?
They made it uniform, basically.
Yeah, but I mean like the thing is, if you're going to add transparency to all of them, then that's different. Like, I can get behind that a bit more, because then Kopaka doesn't stand out as much. But if you're only going to add it to Kopaka, that's what I have a problem with. But personally speaking, I also don't really want transparency to be on the palettes at all, but that's just from my design.
Same. I don't want any.
Yeah.
I don't want any gunmetal.
Only suggested Kopaka because of ice. If we're gonna make them all, then no, thank you. Had enough.
Well,
okay. So all right, I'm still okay with like all right. I personally want 5 Toa. That's like how I would I'd want the
5?
pitch go
Not
now,
4.
but I'm okay with 6.
Not 6.
Not 4.
Not 3.
5.
But 5.
5.
That is so bold.
Like 5 as a number.
I don't like 5 either.
Yeah.
It's got to be either 4 or 6.
I honestly don't mind 5 because it's like you got the 4 normal Toa and then the leader.
Yeah, well, actually, I
that's
mean,
kind of how I look at it.
As long as they like have a good character and they're not like copycatting like elements, personalities, or powers, I think that the number can be as many as you want as long as they have well-developed characters, in my opinion, and elements and designs, etc., etc. When you have 6
you do
sets,
have a point, Phweffie, yeah.
Like you really have to like try your best to differentiate from each character, otherwise it's just like they're all the same, and you do get that with ice and water, stone and earth. Like I imagine like them being, okay, we need to make 6 elements, what do we do? So they start to split hairs, and that's where you get ice, water, stone and earth, and etc. So
it has to be spoken of while we're having this conversation that initially, we've mentioned it before, there were only going to be the 4 characters in Bionicle, and then they added the other 2 later on.
Yeah,
Kopaka and Pohatu. They were the afterthoughts. The ones we have here,
they're the original
supposed
Toa
to be the OG core.
No, I totally
being said,
understand.
I think that out of Bionicle's laundry list of problems and the reason why it failed and the reason why it isn't as profitable as it used to be, having the other 2 characters I don't think plays into that. I think people like those characters. Like they're fan favorites. They work with the dynamics. We could get away with having 6 of them, even if the elements are a little bit of a stretch.
No,
but I also
think
like these new ideas.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm torn.
I think we could too. My only thing has been between earth and stone.
My only thing
that's been like that. I feel they're too redundant to work, and if we're gonna do it, we're giving up the chance to change it around. I don't know why they changed air to jungle, and then not change.
Probably because they agreed that it was
I mentioned this on the
green.
message boards during one of the topics that someone had opened up. And it's because of the color scheme, because green doesn't make sense for air.
It's exactly the same reason why
sorry.
it now.
I completely understand why air is changed to jungle. That makes sense. What I'm saying, I don't know why they change air to jungle but not touch stone and earth if they're going to redesign some of the elements. That's what I was saying.
They changed earth to be more crystalline, And
Yeah, they did. In G2, Earth was crystals and Patu was sand. That's what it was.
that was the
That's all they ever
distinction.
did. You know? Patu did his
get that
sand,
distinction.
tornado, and Onua had like the big stalactites and stalagmites.
What other elements could we use in substitute for stone?
Gravity. Gravity
I feel
for
like
life.
gravity would
Gravity
be too OP
over
though.
sound?
Also, I kind of like.
It would be.
I like the idea where Var was going with Earth being like more about plant life and stuff, because that leaves room for Toa to be more focused on the big boulders and rocks and strength and all that crap.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
it'd be
still
a
imagine
distinction
Onua
there
as
for
this
a
big,
Toa
strong
stone.
character, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what
I feel
I'm
like
thinking,
the
too.
nature aspect plays into his sort of like calm, wise sort of
Right.
character. That's why I really like the idea of him being more nature focused, because I feel like that really brings out his character a lot more. Is that he's got all this power. He is sort of the strongest of them all when it comes to his element, but he's really reserved and wise, and he uses that as like a learning means almost.
Totally.
Like, that's part of the character. But I still imagine him as this big, strong guy.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right.
Talking in the comments.
I really do
the-
like the idea of your Earth changes. I like that. I also still believe strongly that stone is viable, being that the case. I think there's a much weaker argument for ice and water because they're literally the same element.
They're not
One's
literally
just a
the same
different
element.
density and temperature. That's it.
That's not
That's
just
the
how
difference.
it is. There's different. there's
I'm
completely
just
different
saying,
power
man.
sets.
Actually,
You have
some of them
Kopaka
different
walk into a
properties, but whatever.
you have Kopaka walk into a room with Tahu, and suddenly he's the Toa of water.
Yeah, pretty much.
No,
100%. There's no denying.
no, not at all.
Nah.
But with
Toa of
stone and
steam.
earth,
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Toa of steam.
Dolly becomes the toe of steam. Might as well
With
change that
you,
too.
it'd be what is it like steamy hot air, as they say.
Actually,
for the
I would
freaking
imagine
movie.
it more as Kopaka walks into a warm room and makes it colder.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's like think about like Iceman from the X-Men. How he faced against Pyro. Yeah, you never seen the movie. Shut up.
that's a winning argument right there.
I know who
I've
Iceman
seen a
is.
lot of media where characters have fire and then the characters have ice and they clash, and you know what? Guess which one inevitably turns into something else.
It's inherently weaker.
Well, I
I
mean,
mean,
Iceman beats Pyro.
yeah.
So
I mean,
Context is
sure,
really
in
big
that
there.
one
you know?
instance.
Yeah,
I don't know
context
how.
is pretty
Okay, in a
big.
different
yeah,
fight.
exactly. I wouldn't necessarily say that like it's always going to end up as something. I think that's a misnomer.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think you could have a Toa of ice go up against a Toa of fire and them overpower the Toa of fire and freeze them.
I think that could happen, yes, but I don't know. I still don't like.
It's weird.
I still don't like ice as an element. I feel like if you really want the temperature thing, you really want the whole like, I can kind of
they
shift.
just shouldn't be called Toe of Ice. Maybe just Toe of Frost, like we were saying before.
Toa of Frost is okay.
Toa
But at that rate
Yeti.
would
I don't like that
I
as much
still
as
feel
ice.
like that's
to
an
be fair.
expansion of like what potentially wind could be capable of, is changing it to a cooler temperature or something. I don't know.
Or even what Golly could be capable of if she unlocked.
Exactly.
God,
Well, the
you
thing,
guys,
But listen,
you guys in this unlocking thing, I swear.
the thing is,
Well, I mean, listen.
hashtag
Like,
3-year
if
plan.
you're reimagining the line for a new wave. We've already had 2 generations. We're going into our 3rd now with this supposed one. I don't see. I mean, like, I see
What are
nothing
you gonna do
wrong
for
with
their
doing
upgrades?
something
You
new.
gonna give them? Are you gonna give them giant armor and make them be a gold?
I'm
gunmetal?
not. I'm
What are
not
your
planning to
ideas?
think that far ahead yet, Meso.
Hashtag 3-year plan.
I
Well,
want to
you
set
gotta
up the
be aware too.
foundation
Like, you might
first.
cut your plan short.
the thing is that the reason things are cold is because of the lack of heat. That's kind of like that's what it all boils down to.
Nice.
So like maybe
Ha,
an
boils.
energy,
Boils.
maybe an
But,
energy draining power, perhaps, but that doesn't really fit in with the elements kind of like concepts and designs. It's like all of a sudden it's like more of a scientific element. And you're like, oh, okay. So I don't know about the frost thing. Like I don't believe it's an element. It's a lack of an element.
Hold on. So, Var, real quick, you said something about the wind, Toe of Wind being capable of freezing things or something like that. What was it
Yes.
again?
To me, the idea of the temperature changing to a colder temperature could be something that you could either attribute to wind, or you can add the element of ice by combining wind and water. It's something that they can work together to form or something. I don't know. I don't feel
But
like
who's to
ice
say
needs
wind
its
is
own.
always going to be cold, though?
Yeah, I mean, like,
There is such thing as warm wind.
Yes, I realize that.
So
Willis
I don't know. It
suggests
just
that we make
sounds like you
Kopaka
could
the
make
Toa of Lightning.
a similar argument for the Toa of Fire, but obviously we're not going to get rid of the Toa of Fire.
lightning.
Well, I mean, because fire is very, very clear as to what that element is. That isn't anything else. It's heat, it's fire, nothing else here does that. Not a single one of our other elements can do that.
Well, I was going to say, frost has a very similar thing where it's cold, it's freezing,
What?
it's the complete opposite of fire. So,
Somebody trying to say something?
I don't know. I was gonna say something.
What's
I
up,
just,
Max?
I'm way too into this, and I'm just way too confused as it is, and I just I just
you have one Toa on
I was
one
just like,
end
ice
of the
isn't like
temperature
fire.
spectrum,
Fire
and then you have a
is
Toa on
warm,
the other end of the spectrum. I don't know.
and ice is cold.
I don't know.
I don't see how that's like so difficult to have.
Because it's just something that can be made by using other elements. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
but
Nothing else here can make fire. Whereas I can see how ice could be made with water and with wind.
Well, in
they
that
have
case, you could say
matches,
let's get
anyone
rid of
can make
Dolly
fire.
because you could have Kopaka and Tahu.
There's still
Sure.
yeah,
Oh,
the,
you-
sto- the
Yeah,
cold
no, I mean
thing
that
still has to come from
that's
somewhere.
fine. That's a
Viable.
perfectly
You can't just have-
valid
you can't
point.
just have
But
a
I just
Toa
like Golly
and
more than
Dolly.
Kopaka.
I don't think
when
you
it comes
can
to
have
those
a
two.
Toa of Wind just be able to control temperature too. Like that just seems really lame. TBH.
Yeah, no, I mean, like,
Well, I mean,
feel
you're
like there's
focusing on that
there's
point
definitely room
more
on
than
ice.
I intended that to be a serious point. That was sort of, it was just kind of an example of a potential thing that you could do.
I know,
as an answer
and
to that.
I'm using that
That's
one
not-
example as a reason why. Like, I don't think I don't think you can necessarily undermine a Toa of ice, or not necessarily a Toa of ice, a Toa of frost, or a Toa that represents the other end of the heat, the temperature spectrum, I guess.
2 comments. Buckelman says, we can't get rid of Golly if she's literally our only female character.
Yeah.
We totally could. Just make one of the other ones female.
Which one would be
So,
though?
but I mean,
Wow.
The only thing with Golly is that water is
listen,
more
what is
visually
more,
distinctive
what is
than
worse?
before.
A female Kopaka or a Golly with a Kopaka-ish personality? Which one is the bigger
Yeah.
butchery?
I just think it kills 2 birds with 1 stone. And I'm not even like, I still want 6 characters, but I'm thinking about this logically. With Kopaka, his element is kind of derivative. With Golly, her personality is kind of uninteresting. Fix the 2. Match
was-
Make
them
him one
together,
character.
give
That's
what
Golly
I'm
a
thinking
more
too.
interesting
Other one, though.
personality.
Like there was Ice Golly. What was the other one?
Stone
Stone and Earth, but I think pretty much everybody's
Stone
on the
and
same
Earth
page that we don't
girl?
necessarily need Poatu.
I feel like Ice Girl would work more,
Except for LJ.
because women are
Yeah,
ice cold.
I feel getting
you
rid
know?
of Pohaka.
Think of all the Tahu and Kopaka shipping.
Yeah, well, there's also plenty of Golly Tahu shipping, too.
Yeah, but it would be even
there is.
worse because they'd be binary opposites. So
Another comment.
Exactly.
Someone suggested Kopaka being a Toa of lightning. I don't like that because I don't like the element of lightning.
I don't
Well,
either.
you can make
that
lightning
because
with air
there
and
could be
heat.
some cool stuff done with lightning. Like you could have the lightning village, and it could be a cool, like distinct kind of a thing.
you can make lightning with air and
don't know.
heat, though.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't really like lightning as an element.
other
With
big
that said,
thing.
though, of the sub-elements, that's the one that I think I can get behind a bit more.
True.
The other big thing to think about all this is I'm not even so much thinking about characters and their
I'm
powers,
thinking
thinking
the
about our
village.
island.
Yeah.
And like you could the archetype that Bionicle has works. You have the 6 villages, the underground one, the desert one, the fire village, the water one by the sea or under the sea,
Under the
ice
sea.
frosted village, and the jungle village. Like that, those are good looks. They work well.
They
you
all
know?
do work. They all
And
are
they've
very
also been
distinct
done
locations.
before, twice, in 2 generations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
but
my-
I don't
my
really count
problem
the
is-
second one. To be fair, because like we got so little of that island, I felt like
They
that
never
was
fleshed out
yeah,
the
they never
areas.
actually fleshed out the villages and stuff.
I'm
So
thinking like interpretations with cool set designs, and when I think about swapping in elements, like I'm totally down for bringing in new elements. Like I was saying earlier, sonics, gravity, lightning. I'm not big on iron or plasma, but people seem to like them for some reason, so sure we'll lump them in. You can't do a village off those.
Yeah.
and have it be visually distinct. How are you going to do the Village of Gravity? Is everything going to be floating? Because that could be cool.
Village
but-
of Wind.
That-
It could also
actually-
be
How would that
Village of
look?
Air. When
Yeah, exactly. Village of Air. So, like, I don't know. That's not a thing that can be done as easily, because that's like the world is almost as big of a part as the characters. The 6 elements we already have work well for villages. We can't really add new ones. We kind of have to cut them away or keep them as is and think of new ways to use them.
Honestly, I mean, like, if I had to say, keeping with the original thing that we talked about several weeks ago, 6 Toa, all elements except stone is sand.
I'd be down, because there's cool stuff you can do with sand. Gara, crocodile. You know, I'm down. Nobody will know what that is except people who know what
wait,
those are.
what was the suggestion?
Make stone sand, just outright. Call it sand, and instead of how he did it in G2, where he like still is stone, but he only does his tornado, make his whole power set involving sand.
But
Like
sand
he's
is just
kinda
tiny rocks.
corporeal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's more visually distinct stuff you can do with that.
Listen, we're not
like
we're not
crocodile
concerned.
from One Piece.
Yeah, we're
the
not necessarily concerned
tornadoes.
about like what is like the individual distinction. Yes, stone is sand is technically tiny rocks, but like,
feel
I mean,
it's
I
just
feel like
how it
I
looks.
feel like that's part of the
Technicalities,
whole
that's just
thing, though. That's part of the whole argument. It is little rocks. That's part of why the element itself doesn't make sense, because that's what, like, if Poatu can control rocks and Anua can control rocks, why do we need 2 of them?
Yeah.
I'm not
Like,
imagining Anua
at
would have
least
that much
there's...
control.
yeah, Anua,
At least
Anua
for
not
ice
control
and
rocks.
water, there like
Well,
has
yeah,
to
but
be...
because we say he won't, but that's the same thing. Anua didn't control rocks before either. He didn't control sand either, but he could have. That, like, it doesn't make any sense why he wouldn't be able to.
At least with ice and water, there's like a reaction that has to take place for it to be from water to ice. Like for earth and stone, it's just mini rocks, like you just said.
Also, there
We're gonna have
there
to
is
end
very much a scene in Mask of Light where Anua literally picks up a rock and throws it at a dude. That is a thing that happens. So
that's us. I mean,
Well, he
that's
grabbed
fair.
it out of the
Listen,
earth.
he grabbed it out of the earth. See, exactly. It's such a stupid distinction.
It
It's
is a very
so
stupid
dumb.
distinction.
That's why this
It's really
doesn't work. That's why these 2 elements don't work.
I
It's
think in
too
general,
specific.
Here's what I'm
it didn't
thinking-
really
here's
work
what I'm
'cause there
thinking.
wasn't a
The
very
main
great
issue, though.
visual distinction there. But I think that
Sand's got a
if
distinction.
Toe of Earth focuses on nutrients and soil and plants, a Toe of Stone could still coexist. And if we want to talk about unlocking, Toe of Earth eventually has full control over plants through the nutrients of which he also has control over. Toe of Stone can control the temperature of rock. And
Okay.
eventually make it magma.
Am I remembering wrong? But I could
Oh,
have
magma!
I could have sworn there were nutrients in rocks too.
I mean, there probably are.
Yeah, there are.
Pretty sure.
There's like nutrients in like almost everything, but like
Yep.
we can't access those nutrients through eating like we would.
Yeah, you also
with
can't
plants.
control fire.
I don't know. I think the
Here's what I'll do
nutritional
for you.
value
I'll just-
of potting
you-
soil is a lot more than like a
You're
pebble.
thinking of Onua as the farmer, almost in a sense, and Pohatu is the miner.
Yeah.
Well, I
If
mean,
that helps to like get that visual distinction. Like,
possibly. I feel
they're
like
not the same thing.
I feel like you're like the whole idea basically of what would make it easier is now Earth is a never name for jungle essentially. At this
Yeah,
point,
it
like
is.
Earth
That
is
makes more
basically
sense.
never word for jungle, and jungle is that primary like the plant life element that's all tied in with Earth and nature, and
Yes,
that's where.
because jungle wasn't an element, but Earth is, so it all worked.
And then in that case, you can make that argument now that stone is a little different. I'm still thinking about the locations though, because if there's one thing that I feel like was very distinct about all the elements is that they were able to create very distinct visual villages based off these elements.
Visualages.
Visualages, sure, go for it. The desert. Let's say we take Pohatu's sand thing does tie in more of the desert. Let's say that sure we don't feel it's a whatever, but we still like if we replace Pohatu with something, it does need to be as distinct as the desert is in Pokoro. If not, we have to find something else because these elements are not just about the characters and how many they are and what the power set is. It's also about the world we're building. Remember,
I
the
will
whole
say,
point of this.
in defense of Stone Pohatu returning or Sand Pohatu, I feel like there's a lot of weight being put on whether or not we can think of a visually distinct area or location for these Toa to reside in, but I feel like that's being put out to be a lot harder than it actually is.
Yeah.
I feel like if we were actually sit down and try and think of stuff and like doodle up concepts, it wouldn't be that hard. So,
Possibly.
We're gonna end this episode here because it's almost been going an hour and a half. Here's what I want from all you fans and all of you listeners. This week we need you. I said earlier, go vote in the poll. Barth thinks the poll's stupid. You know,
Well, he hasn't even seen the poll.
It can't hurt to go vote in the poll.
I voted in the poll.
But
What are you
more
talking
than-
about? I just haven't read the
More than
comments.
voting in the poll, we need to get a train of feedback going on a couple important things. We need to figure out, okay, do we want the 6 characters and their elements to return in these new ways? What do you think of Var's pitch about 4 elements and their consolidated forms? Which do you think is essential to Bionicle? Which could be gotten rid of? And if these guys are being brought back, and if these powers are being brought back, how are we going to make them better? How are we going to make them visually distinct? What can they
What are
do?
boundaries?
How can they do it? What are their boundaries? How can they look? That's what we need from all of you. Share your feedback. We will listen. We will read. And if you guys trigger some important stuff for us to talk about on next week's podcast, we will address all the feedback there and hopefully get some new understandings of this ourselves.
I will say I do like the concept of ice, but I'm not married to it. What I am really going to be passionate about is having the character of Kopaka continue to be in a
Here's
character
the
in this some shape
One
or form.
final
Kopaka
thing
is
I want the fans to think
integral
about
to the
real
team.
quick, because there's some contention between, not really contention, there hasn't really been a debate yet. However, the question was brought up in our live studio audience here: if we're going to be changing the Toa so much, why not just make new characters?
Yeah.
Because then it
We've
becomes
talked
kind of
about this
valid.
before. Everybody is pretty much against that idea. I am not.
Yeah, me too. I'm
I just want to put that out there.
'cause-
I completely am totally fine with making new characters.
Yeah, trying
I-
something new is important for rebooting something. Like, if you want to...
It's because a lot
Yeah.
of people feel like G2 backpacked off the nostalgia too much, which is totally true.
Yeah, but at the same time,
and
if
in the-
if you don't change it, people will get bored and, like, walk away.
No, yeah, that's totally what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, they banked too much on nostalgia. They didn't experiment
Yeah.
enough, maybe.
No, here's my reason for it, and it's beyond just like the conceptual thing of it.
I didn't mean to start
I
a
feel
conversation.
that-
I just wanted the fans to think about it.
I know. That's what I want to point. I want to point that they're not thinking of for this show, for what we're doing here on the podcast. If we start doing original characters, it becomes less of let's reimagine Bionicle and more of let's create a new Lego line with our own original characters that has elements from Bionicle that we kind of remember.
Yeah, that is how.
That's my thing, because this is still
I don't
like
think
if
there's
we
anything
go
wrong
too
with
far
that.
from it.
Yeah, same. I agree.
I see it becomes less of a reboot where we're drawing stuff from. I think it's more like
You know
we're creating our own fan fiction.
You know
We're creating
what?
our own deal. We can still do that. Just I don't think we should do it
But
with
this
my
whole
I
thing
think
is a
it
fan
just
fiction.
requires a good bit of thought.
Yeah, is it really that much different with
Yeah, this whole
the same
thing is a
names?
fan fiction. That's what this
Yeah.
is.
Right,
You
but
know what?
that's why we're drawing on
I
stuff.
wasn't a
that
fan
we're
of this
able to
idea
tweak
at first,
things.
but you know what? I'm thinking more about it. It requires a good bit of thought. I'm leaning more towards this idea.
Which idea?
Yeah.
Because
New
it's not like we
characters.
have control over Bionicle's future anyway.
Yeah.
No,
This
I mean,
entire
sure.
thing's a
I'm
fan
just
fiction.
talking like conceptually as a show.
I mean,
I
like,
think there's you can still keep elements of it. These like for instance, these new Toa can still have visually like similar designs to the initial ones, but they can still be new characters.
yeah, like, honestly,
Let's get some thought
when I
going.
thought
I mean,
Bionicle was going to reboot back in 2009, you know, after everything was said and done with the Makuta taking over MU and such, I actually thought, okay, it's going to be a full reboot, new characters, same thing, but it still has the same properties. You still get the same aesthetic. That's honestly how I think. I think I would accept a new Bionicle if it was done that way. As
Yeah,
well.
I would
I like
too.
this comment by Prentice1215, but sometimes franchises need to keep their main characters. What if Harry Potter was rebooted but featured a character named Will Farmer?
The difference
that was
between Harry
anything like
Potter and
Harry
Bionicle is that Harry Potter is a worldwide successful phenomenon that is still making new content with their world to this day. R.I.P. Bionicle.
And also,
To be
Which is
fair,
funny
Fantastic
because they
Beasts does not
rebooted-
star
They
Harry
technically
Potter.
did reboot the
True.
Harry Potter franchise.
Yeah, they technically
with-
did. There is
Yeah,
a new
Fantastic
character.
Beasts.
new
To be
hero.
to be fair.
You still got
To
the
be
same
fair.
properties. You
Yeah.
still got a
J.K.
similar
Rowling's was-
world and everything. So you
Yep.
know what?
No,
I say
I mean,
it's
They're
good.
calling it the Wizarding World.
I don't get me wrong. I would rather we do original characters in terms of instead of like drawing on just exclusively old characters. My only thing is, as a show, I feel like that's their
Fans will
limitation.
lose interest.
We're going away for the purpose of talking about this as a whole. The purpose of this was BIONICLE G3, not if we could create our own Lego line.
I am
and all
inclined
these new
to
things.
agree, but I'm open to feedback.
Yeah,
from
I
fans.
wanna hear what people say.
If the fans are
if
if the fans are all on board with this, if they feel like that's not going to be, I'm okay with doing it. I
Okay,
just
my
feel like
question for
that's
people
what's
listening to
driving the
this,
show.
if they heard the pitch regarding getting rid of Kopaka, changing the element of Earth, if everything they heard from this point they were not feeling, you did not like this idea at all, what if these characters were new characters instead? Would that change your opinion on those ideas at all? That's what I want to hear.
almost this year.
I think it would as well. I feel like if you didn't like this, it was mostly because of your attachment to the characters prior, and the changes being made to that was just too much of a change. But if these are new people, I
like
feel like
the
those
cape,
changes can be forgiven a bit more. Well, you're not attached to the characters, X.
Thank you, X.
Dude, I'm attached, man. I just like the cape.
Overly attached. X.
I think it's cool, man. It's like I'm superhero, man.
I think it's cool too. I just think we're going a little too far. This is it would
Cape
be
is too far.
Yeah. No. I think like new characters, like if our main characters are all our own original characters, I think we're going too far. That's what I think.
Let's leave.
Not that we should have
I want to hear what the
We'll be back
community
next
thinks.
Going too far.
I just like the ice girl
back next
and the
week.
cape.
No.
We're gonna have a live stream in like an hour and a half. We can talk about this then, guys. Come on.
I know.
All right.
Honestly, if you
We're
don't
we're
comment on stuff,
ending.
comment
Thank
on this
you all
one,
very
please.
much for listening to this episode of the TTV Podcast. It's been a wild and crazy ride. Special shout out to our Patreon members who make this whole thing worthwhile. I really appreciate your behind the scenes commentary. It helps
Really
make this
helps.
podcast a heck of a lot. If you want to join in, just pledge to our Patreon. You'll get a link to our Discord server.
Here's the shout out.
And you can come listen to these live recordings. I'm getting to that. You can listen to the live recordings of the podcast behind the scenes. Special Patreon shout out for this week is our Patreon Wadden.
Hey,
You're
thanks,
a cool
Wadden.
person. I've seen you around in the chat today. You're helping a lot. Thanks for subscribing. And we will see you all
Hey, mate,
next
remember
week.
the countdown.
I want to share some feedback. Yeah.
Also, remember to do the
Sing
names.
Also,
If
the
you want to
NSYNC.
leave feedback, TTV message boards, boardofthetvchannel.com. I'm
I'm glad you remembered to plug the board. Sometimes you forget that. I'm Var.
I'm LJ.
I'm Jonathan.
I'm Ben.
I'm Phweffie.
I'm Tenebrae Invictus.
I'm Apex Trooper without a cape.
And this was TTV 236. See
Hey,
y'all next
Meso,
week.
remember to export as MP3, please. Also, remember to upload the Dropbox. Okay, I'm done.
Remember to end the podcast.